Kia ora, everybody. Welcome to the April Microsoft New Zealand Partner webinar that we're running this month. Nice to see all the names popping on up in the screen here. Lots of names that I recognise in the mix of all that. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy diaries to come and join us and have some updates on what's going on from our end at Microsoft. We truly hope that this is a valuable session and time that you spend with us, but it's really imperative for us to get that feedback. So if there is topics and things and information that you would like us to cover in this channel, in this forum, please do share with us what some of those insights and ideas would look like for us, that we are able to share with you and engage with you with the right kind of content, so it's keeping you up to speed with what's going on. So I don't know about you, but I am really, really busy at the moment, and we're all in that madness of the Microsoft Q4 crazy period where everyone's looking to close out the deals as well as look to plan for the next financial year. And so this morning I actually was in our One Commercial Partner leadership team meeting, and we had our first, I guess what you call cascade of priorities that have landed with us for the coming financial year. So it's really great to start seeing information coming down to us a little bit earlier than usual. And so we're starting to go into planning mode and what that looks like with our partners. So you're going to start hearing a lot more from us around what the key priorities are, where areas of focuses are across the solution areas, what funding sits where, what training comes and lands against what area. So there's lots going on our business. And so I'll kick things off and into what our agenda is that we're going to cover off today. A couple of things of me that I'll cover top of mind that I think is important to share with you all. And then as usual, we have Vitor, who's our partner channel marketing manager on enablement, who's going to cover off some of the awesome events that we've got coming up in training in and around over the month. And then we've got changes in our competencies that we need to share with you. We have Divya joining us, who's going to give us an overview on the Azure Edge of Networking. And then back into Vitor, who will be talking about upskilling and reskilling for this fourth industrial revolution. Now, apologies early, I'm going to have to duck away. I'm presenting in 30 minutes into another forum, so I will let my team here wrap it up and do share with us some insights that you've got. Please use the chat channel on to the side of the screen if you've got any queries or questions along the way. If you don't want to take yourself off mute, we are following that and we'll be able to share information and links in that channel as well. So do use that chat channel to communicate and making it an engaging forum between us and you guys on the call. Rightio. So top of mind for me, currently Microsoft Inspire, we have got this at the forefront, seeing lots of registrations coming through, but I will continue to talk about this channel. If you do know about it or don't know about it, it is certainly the place to be finding out and getting a better understanding of what the core priorities for Microsoft will be in our coming financial year. So as in last year, it's been held in Vegas in mid-July. Currently, the price structure, the promotional period has ended and is currently US dollars of 225 US, and that is until May 30th. And then it does hike quite a bit up to $2.5 US dollars, $1,000. So do be mindful of that as you are planning out your travel. I can't, sort of tell you enough about how much it is to get from a technical perspective as well as a business development perspective, and the networking and opportunities that happen at Inspire really does create that alignment with Microsoft. At this in this forum, we of course have our cornerstone speakers from Satya through to Gabriella Schuster, who heads up our One Commercial Partner. But it's really an opportunity to get an insider's view of what the Microsoft plans are and how you can leverage those for your business, and how you can help build out your plans, and also how you can engage Microsoft and unlock Microsoft to help you enable your business. And that's whether there be technical resource or engaging with the sellers that we have have going up into Vegas, or it might be the Microsoft executive team. So it's something that we do really encourage, is that networking and opportunity to engage in with a team up there. So what's new for 2019? It was a bit of a learning journey last year for the conference. It was a shared event with our what we call Microsoft Ready, which is our internal staff. So it was a shared experience. It was quite a big mashup or join up of two entities together. So there was some learnings in and around it. So there was a phenomenal amount of content that was coming through. So there is going to be not necessarily a reduction on content, but more time for networking. One thing that's critical coming up out of the session there is being able to engage with Microsoft at a corporate level, not just locally. So that's something, if you are attending and you want to be able to engage in some of the technical resource of other people at Corp, it's critical that you let us know that, so we can help plan out those sessions for you. There is an online schedule, and if you go online to the website at the moment, which is if you actually just Bing Microsoft Inspire, it will pop up easily. You'll see that there's some schedules and some core note speakers that have been released already, but you'll also be able to eventually, not quite yet, but download an app that will help you build out the session and see what kind of sessions you can attend and learn on from the mix of that. One of the other ones, which was a big challenge when at the event there, the one celebration, which was Bruno Mars last year, was really far away out of Vegas, and so made it incredibly challenging for some people to get to. So it's going to be moved to much closer, and then we'll all be staying in one hotel from a New Zealand perspective, which is the Cosmopolitan in Vegas, which is nice and central to some of the key conference zones which we'll be at. So there'll be lots of still sort of notifications and things coming out, which will be utilising our Yammer channel and our newsletter to communicate. And if there's anything new coming out and around Inspire, I will continue to update you within this webinar channel in and around it. But if you are needing to get this over the line and you're thinking about coming and you want to know some more information, please do reach out to me directly. Raddy will put my email address into the meeting chat. Please do feel free to just connect with me directly, and I can help you with that. So just quickly on what the schedule looks like, we have most people arrive up on the Sunday. If you're a first-time attendee at Inspire, there is a mentor program that you can engage in and sort of give you the tips and tricks on how to get the best out of Inspire on that Sunday afternoon. And then we'll be having a welcome reception on that Sunday evening. Inspire kicks off on Monday morning with our core note, and then sessions throughout the day. And we'll be having our APAC event on, which is a big celebration event, which we'll be having on that Monday night. Through and on to Tuesday, again, networking sessions all day, and into other various evening events from the mix of that. And then on Wednesday, the big mashup with Ready, some more core note sections from the mix of that, right through until Thursday. So as I've already covered off, hello there. Oh, no, that's someone else online.
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
Hi there, if we could have you. Oh, we've muted them now. So, Partner of the Year Awards. So I've mentioned this into the last webinar. I have finalised the dates, and so we will be launching the Partner of the Awards. Will be open on July the 1st. So the open period for the awards for you to enter will be for 6 weeks to be able to enter into the awards. And if it was anything like last year, everyone waited to the last minute, completely freaked me out. And we had 3 awards by the morning and 146 in by the end of the night. So here I was thinking it was going to be incredibly unsuccessful and turning to be the most successful yet. So I do encourage you to get your, once it's open, to take a look and do start planning out what your award entries are going to look like. And I really want to encourage you to, whether no matter of what size partner you are, whether you are an ISV, whether you're an SI, to whether you're an SMB segment target, whether you're an enterprise target, these awards are open for everybody. And as you probably recognise from the awards last year, there was quite a significant change, moving away from the product-centric approach of what our global awards look like, but into being more customer-centric opportunities and what our partners are working with and with customers in this market. There will be no changes to last year's awards. It will be the same, that all the awards, how that shaped up. So if you entered last year or took a look, I do encourage you to get involved. There is nothing like getting up on the stage or being recognised as the finalist within the Partner of Awards and being able to utilise this accolade within your sales conversations or within your digital content that you may have on your websites. So it will be open for 6 weeks, and then we go through quite a significant judging period. That we will be announcing the finalists at some stage, late also September-ish, and then we'll be holding the event in Auckland, hopefully on October the 17th. I'm just waiting for the venue to come back and confirm on that. So I hope that gives you a nice heads up of what is coming. You will see this lots more noise coming about, but do mark it into your diaries, because that's 6 weeks you can get underway and write lots of amazing awards. So in on that, whilst I'm speaking about awards, I'll just touch on the global awards, which have now been closed. We had a great sort of contingent from New Zealand entering in this space, a huge variety of the categories that were available, so it was fantastic turnout. All these will be judged from corporate, with the exception of the Country of the Year Partner Awards, which will be judged locally here by our SLT. But for the rest of the global awards, this will all be announced up in Inspire in July. And if you don't attend, we'll be having local comms that will let everyone know what, if, hopefully, fingers crossed, we will have successes from our New Zealand contingent within these global awards. And last but not least from me is sort of touching in on that planning. So I wanted to give a heads up into this space, because this is an area which is one that I manage, which is where we engage with our partners in and around marketing campaigns, and building out what that may look like for the next financial year period. So currently we are just starting, as mentioned, getting our priorities through, and we're starting to look into really starting to finalise what our plans look like with our partners for within June, so we can have a fast start beginning of July. So if we are currently already engaged with you in a go-to-market space, then this is something that we will talk to you about directly. But also I wanted to bring to attention, if we're not working with you on a go-to-market space and you're currently wanting to do some go-to-market activity, I'd like to be able to talk to you about this, whether we engage you with our global go-to-market services desks and be able to utilize some of the free assets and things that you have available to you based on your competencies in the mix. Now I'm just going to pause a little. We have lost our screen. If you just wait 1 minute, we'll have the presentation brought back up. Cool, almost ready to go. So that's it from me. I just wanted to, ensure that if you have, regarding the go-to-market services that you have available to you, we will put in the chat window the connection to that desk. There is a number of free resources that you have available in that mix, or you can contact me and I can help line up that engagement for you, so you can start leveraging that channel if you are in an unmanaged partner space, and start utilising the resource to help you get some go-to-market activity in place, whether you have marketing competency in your business or not. Now, that is it from me. I'm going to hand over to Vitor, who is going to cover off all the training and enablement in from April. And do get involved. Thank you very much for your time.
Kia ora, everyone. My name is Vitor. I look after partner training initiatives here at Microsoft New Zealand. So I know I'm very familiar with many of you on the call, but feel free to reach out to myself if you need any help with any sort of enablement activity for your team. So we are calling this the April webinar, but it's already the 1st of May. So just want to be sure I cover some of the coming courses that we have in May, and I believe are quite critical for you guys. So first of them is next Wednesday, the 8th of May. We're going to have the Dynamics Readiness Update and Networking Day. So it's the second edition. We did one at the end of last year, which was very well received. And this year, what we are doing is, on this edition, it's having 3 tracks that you can choose from. So we're going to cover Business Central, Customer Engagement, and Unified Operations. So registrations are going super well at the moment. We have 7 seats left. So if you are a Dynamics partner, or if you play a role around Dynamics on your organization, register fast and secure your seat. Great news for those joining is that there will be drinks and nibbles at the end. So there will also be an opportunity to network with some of our executives here at the office in Auckland. Second one, which is a super cool opportunity, is the Cloud Architect Bootcamp. So that's extremely technical. So for you guys that are technical professionals, you might be familiar with that Cloud Architect Bootcamp, which is the most technical training, the best technical bootcamp Microsoft can provide. On the past, that only took place in Redmond, in Seattle. And for the first time, we're being able to have that in some regions around the world. Unfortunately, we don't have that in New Zealand, but we have that in Melbourne, which is quite close. It's cheaper and faster to get there, right? So from the 27th to the 30th of May, so it's a 4 days technical boot camp, and we have three different tracks you can also choose from, and that's a data track, an app development track, and a infrastructure track. So it's a paid training, but the costs, as I mentioned before, are considerably cheaper than going to the US. So the other thing I want to cover is the Azure Tech Night session. That's going to cover Windows Virtual Desktop. So that's also going to take place at the Microsoft Auckland office on the 17th of May in partnership with RIPE. So that's open to any partner. Feel free to register and attend. And I'm sure many of you have seen announcements around Windows Virtual Desktop and the opportunities this will unlock. So great opportunity for you guys to learn more about it and get involved. Next up, I want to cover, and we have more training happening. I'm going to share the link to the New Zealand Partner Hub. I'm just not going to cover each and every training because otherwise it will take a lot of time. So I'm going to share here on the chat the link to the Partner Hub where you can check all the other upcoming courses we have, either online or in person. So this has been an ongoing conversation about change to the MPN competence requirements. As many of you will be aware, there were major changes to Microsoft certifications starting in December with Azure, this month with Microsoft 365, and we have changes planned for June with Dynamics. So basically revamping all the exams, official exams. And with that, as Microsoft official exams are a critical part of MPN competence requirements, there will be changes. So this is an evolving piece at the moment. We are still waiting to hear more news, but there's a lot of information that's available that I would like to share with you. So first thing is competencies that will change and competencies that will not change. So the blue ones are the ones that will have updated the requirements, which as you can see is pretty much all the competencies. The ones that won't have update is communications, enterprise resource planning, and cloud customer relationship management, because some of these competencies will be retired as well in July 1st for our next fiscal year, right? So what I recommend you doing, you can click on that purple link on the bottom. I'm going to share the links with you and the slides, but clicking there, you can check what are the new exams that will be required for each competence and what are the exams that are being retired. Bear in mind that retired exams are still valid for 1 year to activate competencies. But if you're going to start planning and investing time, we highly recommend you focusing on the newer exams that have been that are available already. So have a look on that so you can start planning your learning journey and also the exams you want to sit and competencies you want to attend for the coming fiscal year. Again, feel free to reach out to myself. We're going to be doing some noise with that. We're going to be promoting that at our newsletter, at our partner connect newsfeed and partner hub, because this is a critical part, and we want to make sure guys are investing time and money into the right exams and competencies. So now I'm going to hand over to Divya, who's going to be talking about Azure Networking. I'll be back after that presentation to talk a little bit more about training and enablement and a very interesting framework we have. But without further ado, Divya?
Yes, thank you, Vitor. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me in this forum to present to you on the new Azure networking updates we have. So I am Divya, based out of Melbourne. I am part of the Azure networking team looking after Australia and New Zealand. So anything to do with the hybrid connectivity from your on-prem to Azure or networking within Azure is something I look after. So without much further delay, let's get started. So today I'm going to talk about the new ExpressRoute Edge launch in New Zealand, along with some of the new ExpressRoute features we have released, and also new products such as virtual WAN, firewall, and front door. So let's get started. So exciting news for New Zealand. We now have a New Zealand POP based in Auckland. So this was something that was announced back in September last year at Ignite. In US, the event that happened. So what's the state currently right now? It's the hardware is at our data center in Auckland. We expect that our ExpressRoute partners should be onboarded end of this month or early next month, and the customers should go live by June next month. So it shouldn't be too much of a delay now. What this means for customers is the options that customers in New Zealand had was either using a site-to-site VPN over internet to get connected to Azure region, or using long haul to get connected to a cloud exchange platform in Sydney, and this would have incurred a lot of cost for the customer. But also, if you were using site-to-site VPN, what this would have meant was customer would be probably be using the same bandwidth that they're using in the office connection. So there's no SLA on that. So with the new ExpressRoute Edge in New Zealand, what this means for customers is now you're going to see a lower carrier cost, in the sense that you will just need to have a local loop within New Zealand connecting to our Microsoft Edge location or the data center where that is. Microsoft is then going to look after the long haul, so all the way to the Microsoft global region. So Microsoft's looking after that part, and the customer would only have to care about the connectivity back to the data center in Auckland. Whenever we branch out to any new region, we try to work with the local providers there and the local telco. So, for example, we would not be working with AT&T or BT in New Zealand. So, as a result, these are some of the New Zealand partners we have onboarded to provide ExpressRoute services for customers. And the whole reason is that you and your customer already have relationship with these providers, and as a result, getting connectivity, if you already have a MPLS network or a Ethernet network with them, is much easier than building a relationship with a international telco, for example. Now, as these partners are onboarding, the partners would provide availability or will provide connectivity to Azure ExpressRoute in either a layer 2 format or a layer 3 format. A layer 3 format would be customer would already be having an MPLS network with the provider. So let's talk about Spark. And as a result, when the customer does go to Spark to bring up their Azure ExpressRoute service, the routes would appear after the provisioning process is complete. The routes would appear on the MPLS network, whereas some other providers, for example, Megaport, may be giving customer a physical handoff or at the data center or some location, and the customer would have to do the layer 2 and the layer 3 termination themselves. So that is something that to be mindful of when you're choosing your customers or when you're choosing your partners. Now, the whole value proposition of why ExpressRoute. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. There's a question from Matt
Oh,
at
yes.
the chat
Sure.
regarding, he says, these guys were already providing express routes. So what's the difference? Is it cheaper or faster?
Okay, good question, Matt. So these guys were already providing ExpressRoute via Sydney, and customer would have had to be looking after or paying the high Trans-Tasman link. The whole benefit of having this service out of Auckland is you will now get an SLA back service, so 99.95%, which is something I was going to touch on this just now, and also if you're looking at the connectivity, the ease of connectivity for the customer, they will only have to care about the short haul or the local loop connecting back to the New Zealand data center, and not care about the backhaul so much on how the traffic was going over the Trans-Tasman link. So Matt, does that answer your question? Okay, lovely. When we're talking about whether it's faster or not, I mean, we can't really be any faster than the speed of light. So if you're looking at from a performance perspective, we can definitely talk about the performance and the high availability, because with an express route service, and it's in my slides in my other slides that are upcoming. With the express route service, you are guaranteed a predictable performance if you were comparing this with an internet service, for example. When you are getting a 1 gig service, we ensure that the traffic that you get from your edge or your data center back to Microsoft Edge in Auckland, but also the throughput that you're expecting back to whichever region you're connecting is 1 gig. And the way that we configure our service, so say you purchase a 1 gig express route service, what the customer necessarily don't know that in the back end you're actually getting 2 by 1 gig service. So if you are bringing up your express route service and you've provisioned this before, you'll notice that you have 2 BGP peering session per private peering or Microsoft peering. So that ensures that your path is going over 2 diverse paths from the partner edge back to the Microsoft edge, and that gives you that redundancy, and hence why it is SLA backed. Um, so moving on, and this is the slide that I'll talk about now, is when you now bring up an express route service, you have the benefit not only of getting connectivity to your private peering or your virtual data center in the cloud, but also you can bring up Microsoft peering and have routes of all the Azure public services, things like SQL, storage, HPC. All these routes are now going to be advertised into your on-prem network. What that means is that now you have a direct path to all these Azure services. Now, if you are looking, when you're looking at this diagram and you see Microsoft and the partner edge, that both would reside in Auckland data center. So even though you're seeing one diagramic block of one Microsoft edge, in our data center, basically there are 2 edges, and we expect that the partner also has 2 edges on their side. So that whole diverse path is covered. And in saying that, then we have multiple cross connect running between the Microsoft edge and the partner edge. So that all happens in the data center in Auckland, and then the customer would get the local loop from the customer's data center or the customer's office location, using a carrier of the choice back to where this express route partner is located. So that gives you that end-to-end connectivity. So just moving on the slide. So this is a very high level overview of what an express route connectivity would look like for a customer connecting back to Sydney. So you have your express route edges in Auckland. Customer gets the local loop to the data center. Microsoft manages all the long haul back to the Sydney edge, and you're connected to any of these regions. Also, when I am saying that, I've only mentioned Sydney here, but suppose you have ER Premium and you are routing to another region, say in London or US, that is quite possible as well. Just for to keep it very high level, I've just shown Sydney, but from the Auckland edge, you can connect to any of the Azure regions. So Richardson just mentioned in the chat that he's unable to see the slides. Victor, are you having?
Yeah, I can see it clearly here. It's being recorded, and I'm gonna share the slides and the recording with the team. So if you cannot see, I would recommend trying to rejoin the call. If not, you can just listen, and I'm gonna share the details later on. Okay?
Okay, thank you. So this is something that is a very powerful slide, because this actually will set the theme of some of the other new products, Azure networking products, that is being released by our team. So Microsoft, prior to joining Microsoft, I didn't realize how large our global backbone was, but we manage our global backbone. We either own the capacity in some cases or lease the capacity, or in some cases we actually go into partnership with other corporations and build subsea cables. And that is quite powerful when we are running such a global network. And what you'll see, the theme that is appearing in the new products that we are releasing, is you'll see a network as a service offering as a silent theme in the background. We're using the capability of our global network and how we leverage that to now offer services to customers. So So let's move on to some of the new Express Route features we have released, and that is will be available out of the Auckland Edge site. So first one I'll touch on is Express Route Direct. Now, as you know, within existing Express Route service, you're limited to 50 megabits per second to 10 gigabits per second. But let's say your customer has the need to have a lot of data, ingress requirement into Azure. And for a good example, in the US, a use case has been a customer running HPC on Azure and doing genomics. And as a result, they needed to be very close to the Microsoft Edge, but also send a lot of data into Microsoft. So as a result, the product was released, ExpressRoute Direct. Now, this is a direct relationship or a cross connect between the customer and Microsoft. So there's no partner in between. What this gives, the option this gives to the customer is that you get a higher TCP flow throughput, and you have a more predictable and more predictable but lower end-to-end latency, hence increasing the reliability. Now, this is not a reseller model because the minimum circuit you can order from on this service is actually 5 gigabits per second. So this does not suit everybody, but if you have a customer who has this kind of requirement, that's something that is available out of Auckland Edge that you can be mindful of. The other product I'm going to talk about is Global Reach. Now, customers have been trying to do something similar where they had a branch office and I'm going to talk over this example, branch office in San Francisco, branch office in London, and they had express route services and VNets connecting. Now, what the customers wanted to do was use the Microsoft backbone and connect London branch office to San Francisco branch office and vice versa. And that's not something they had been able to do until recently. So what we have released with this new product called Global Reach is now customers can connect their two express route circuit, very similar to a VNet peering methodology, where you can connect it to express route circuits bypassing the express route gateway on the VNet altogether. And as a result, you're not limited by the throughput of that express route gateway. So you can have, and this all can be built on demand. Traffic stays on the Microsoft backbone, so you're no longer, traversing the internet to go from branch to branch, but now you're using the Microsoft backbone and leveraging the Microsoft backbone. Now, the whole reason is that you know the whole use case for this particular product is customer has branched out to a new country. They do not have the relationship with the local carrier just yet, and they need to get this connection going or get connectivity back to Azure. But we do have Express Route in that region, so they get connected to Express Route, and they connect that new office site back to the existing MPLS network until they're ready at a time to migrate back to the traditional MPLS network. So what we do say is that when a customer is looking at this option, because it is on demand, you can bring it up when it's needed and tear it down when it's not. It actually complements your existing WAN solution. And that's something that is a very good option for a customer to have as they're building up the service. Also, we do tell the customer that customers in some cases have done a fully meshed network on this. So have a global network. They're using ExpressRoute Global Reach to fully mesh it across the globe and getting a fully meshed connectivity service from their point. Now, the other product that's been released, again using our Microsoft backbone to leverage and offer this service to customers, is called Azure Virtual WAN. Now, Virtual WAN is something is actually complementing the trend that we're seeing in the cloud today, and that's something that you're probably having that conversation quite often with your customers, where the customers' application are now moving to the cloud. Users are more spread, so you're not expecting users only coming in from your on-prem data center, but they could be coming from branch side. They would be coming from there'd be mobile users who need to access the application in the cloud. So what do you do to leverage the Microsoft backbone, but also what do you do to bundle all these different connectivity points together? So what we do say is that vWAN complements the trends that customers see because applications are distributed between on-prem and the cloud, and they would like to securely connect to the cloud. Now, what vWAN is basically, it's an ARM resource which sits on top of your global infrastructure. Now, Azure has concept of regions. Virtual WAN has concept of hubs. So you can build up one hub per region, and as a result, you can connect your different endpoints. So in this case, you have your branch office would be doing a site-to-site VPN back to the hub. We have recruited a couple of SD-WAN partners, and I'll go through the partner names in my slides later on who they are, and you can, so those end sites or branches with the SD-WAN devices can connect to the hub. But also when you are doing VNet peering, or you had your hub and spoke network already on Azure, you can connect that to the cloud as well. And now you can see everything is now getting connected to that one hub for the end-to-end connectivity to take place. So we do allow, as of a few months ago, we now also allow ExpressRoute to be, it's in preview, ExpressRoute to be part of the virtual WAN as well. So if you were trialing, or if you want to trial your ExpressRoute connected to virtual WAN along with all the other products, for ExpressRoute, we need to get your subscription whitelisted. So that's something that we can talk about more detail after this call when you have my details. So let's talk about some of the GA features for virtual WAN. As I mentioned, you can have one hub per region. So in this case, I'll talk about one hub in Melbourne, one hub in Sydney, and my branch offices connected to those. The number of endpoints you can have per hub is 1,000. So it can really scale very high. And the aggregate throughput that you can get in the hub is it starts from 500 megabits per second, but goes up to 20 gigabits per second. So you have that fully branch to branch connectivity. You have the option to have your VNet to branch connectivity, your branch to branch connectivity, but also if you have a virtual appliance in one of those spoke networks and you wanted all the traffic to go to that virtual appliance and be inspected and then come back and traverse the hub and come back and connect back to the another branch, that is quite possible as well. So you can maintain your architecture of hub and spoke network. Now, this slide actually discusses why working with an SD-WAN vendor is a better experience for the customer. Now, if you were configuring an IPsec manually, it is actually quite prone to error, and the manual configuration can be quite difficult for some customers. So when you are working with an SD-WAN provider, and the whole premise for why we partnered with the SD-WAN provider was to give the customer zero-touch provisioning process. These SD-WAN providers are actually have had API integration with us, so the provisioning is very automated. And especially when we're looking at 200, 300 branch sites, you don't want to be configuring each branch site and moving on, and that's going to take you ages. So doing bulk uploads, bulk provisioning is something that we are aiming for with these SD-WAN providers. Now, so these are some of the ones, and you can see there's quite a few popular brand names that you can see here. Something unique with Citrix is, I'll point out Citrix. There's something unique with Citrix is that, say a customer has the internet connectivity out of their central data center, and for a remote user, getting connected to Office 365 is taking ages, because now they have to go to the branch, have to go from the branch side to a central data center, from the central data center access out to the internet to Office 365. What the Citrix SD-WAN capability allows the customer to do is to have an Office 365 branch out directly from that remote side. So for some customers, then what happens is that for those customers in that branch side, connectivity back to Office 365 becomes much simpler and much easier. So that's something that you can keep in mind when you are having a look at virtual WAN and the options we have. Now, Kodak Alaris is one of our early adopters for this, for a virtual WAN use case. This is phase 4 and 5. So this is another year or two down the path they're already on. But phase 1 actually just started with creating a one region hub and connecting a few VNets and branch sites to it. But the plan is to roll out the whole global network onto Azure, creating multiple hub sites and multiple branches and VNets connecting to it. So as you can see, it's a very segmented network. Currently, with the capability of this product, we are expecting to have hub-to-hub connectivity released very soon. But the workaround for that is one of the branches can be connected to 2 hubs or more hubs to have that end-to-end connectivity between the sites. I think I've just lost control, so let me just take over control again. Bear with me. Okay, I've lost the slide. If anybody can start presenting again, that'd be great.
Yeah, we're gonna upload it again, Divya. It looks like someone took control, so just please ask the team not to ask control or click on the slides as we upload it back again. It might take a minute or so for us to get back there. So if you wanna just cover off some territory while we get to the slide.
Yeah, sure. So those are some of the partners that is very easy they make it very easy for customers to bring up and bring up their virtual WAN sites and get it connected to virtual WAN. In Australia, we're starting to do a lot of POCs with customers and ensuring that they start off with small objectives of getting the VNet connected to the virtual WAN, then getting the express route connected, connecting a site-to-site VPN, and see how it all goes together, and then expanding it out globally, similar to a very much the Cordic Alaris model I had shown before. So the next product I was going to talk about was Azure Firewall, and actually that is a first-party product that was released a couple of months ago. The Azure Firewall gives you that central governance of monitoring and protection. Now, as you are deploying in the cloud, you now have you expanded to multiple VNets, and even doing protect across all of them. Because if you look at our zero trust model, bear with me while I'm talking the slides too. Okay, thank you. So I'll just go to the slide I was after. Bear with me as it finds its way. Okay, so the next topic was application protection, and we were going to talk about Azure Firewall. So, but before I start, this is a very high level overview of what are some of the protection that we provide of Azure platform. So from a micro-segmentation perspective, from what happens in a VNet, you have the option to have network security group, very similar to an access list, applied to a subnet, and you have service endpoints to provide that secure connectivity of paired services from VNet. But from an application perspective, we have DDoS protection, which is a protection for all traffic across all your applications on a VNet. We have the app gateway with the web application firewall to provide you that HTTP layer 7 protection, and also the Azure Firewall, which is a new product that was released a couple of months ago that gives you that non-HTTP HTTPS protection, but more from a layer 3 perspective. So let's talk about the Azure Firewall. As I mentioned, this is a central governance for all your monitoring and protection. It resides in a virtual network, and the whole reason is that this is it's a highly available service. So all the high availability is built in, so customers do not have to worry about putting an additional load balancer and making it quite making it a quite robust solution. Because if you were using a third-party solution, you'll have to put a load balancer in front with an active passive NVA in the back end. So all that with the Azure Firewall is built in, so that's something that the customer doesn't have to worry about, and that actually makes it a very easy configuration. The Azure Firewall, what the feature I like about it is because it can scale up as much as you need to accommodate your changing network traffic flows. So you don't have to budget for your peak traffic. You can also limit outbound HTTPS traffic to a specified list of FQDNs, including wildcards. And this feature does not require any SSL termination. So things like you want to allow Windows update happening from Azure Firewall because you don't want it to be traversing down your on-prem back to the internet. So you can allow certain FQDNs, predefined FQDNs by Microsoft, to be easily accessible via the Azure Firewall. Now the FQDN tags are also available. Now this make it very easy for you to use or allow well-known Azure services network traffic through your firewall. And had already mentioned about the Windows update that can be allowed through this firewall and the flow can go through. Outbound net and inbound net is also available. So we are integrated with Azure Diagnostics to show what kind of traffic is flowing in for the applications, the networks, and the net gateway. The app gateway firewall is a preferred service for anything to do with HTTP, HTTPS type of traffic, but non-HTTP, HTTPS is something that Azure Firewall is really valid for.
Divya, we have
Yes,
one more minute before we jump into the next topic. Can
sure.
you, yeah,
Yes,
kind of,
this is my last slide. So Frando is a new service it's a new service offering. So if you were thinking about CDN more focused around static files, such as delivering PDF, etc., Frando is our global dynamic content delivery solution. It is a highly available, highly scalable web application acceleration platform. So the benefit of Frando is that it does application acceleration or web acceleration. I'll just move to the other slide. It does web acceleration, does SSL termination on the front end while keeping the hot connection on the back end. So it actually reduces the number of SSL handshakes between the client and the application. Say your application resides somewhere in the US region, but the Azure Front door is in New Zealand. So all the SSL handshake is going to happen locally while still maintaining that connection in the back end. So this becomes very powerful for customers who've got that vast global application level. And that was my last slide. So over to you, Vitor.
thank you so much, Divya. That was very clarifying. I'm sure a lot of people had the questions and have seen some stuff on the media already. We're gonna share the slides so you guys can review with all the details, the territory we have covered around Azure Express route. We are also going to be launching a campaign at the New Zealand Partner Hub next week, so you can expect to see more details there, the list of eligible partners, and how do you make the most of this opportunity. So within the next 10 minutes, what I'd like to cover is on my role as a marketing manager for channel development. I've been having lots of conversations with partners and customers lately about personal development and upskilling and reskilling for what we call the fourth industrial revolution. So I'll take the next 10 minutes to quickly run you guys through some of these conversations I'm having and also some of the resources you have available to support your business and yourself further. So just clarifying a couple of concepts, what upskilling and reskilling. Upskilling is learning new competencies for to be able to do your current role better and take it to the next level. So myself as a marketeer, when I concluded my university 10 years ago, marketing was totally different than what it is now. Today is very digital, so I had to upskill in marketing. Reskilling, it's something that is getting bigger and bigger due to lots of jobs being impacted by technology. So we know that many manual tasks are being automated, and there's a need for many people to reskill, which means learning new competencies so they are able to do a totally new and different role than the one they do right now, right? So I always like to share this cartoon because it really shows, okay, what should we do about it, right? So skill shortage is a global gap. And it's a problem not only for New Zealand. So there are trends happening around the world about lack of skilled professionals, how hard it is. You guys can probably share stories about how hard it is to hire and retain top talent nowadays. So we have seen some professionals like data scientists, AI, IoT professionals. These guys are highly sought on the market. So how do you make sure to find those professionals, or how do you train your current employees and yourself to be one of those professionals and move into some of those roles? Uh, one of the main challenge is there are many questions to be answered, and what most people do is they take a dangerous approach of doing nothing in regards to upskilling and reskilling. So just sharing some insights about global talent landscape. So there are many surveys I could share with you guys about that in the trends, but the latest one I have seen from Gartner, that's from January this year, shows that global talent shortage is now one of the top emerging risk facing organizations, right? So it keeps growing. It's getting harder to find talent people and even harder to maintain those talents. And the same research also says that 68% of IT teams report a shortage of necessary skills. And the main reasons they mention is a lack of investment in training from their company, ineffectiveness in skills development of existing employees, difficult attracting candidates with industry-specific skills, insufficient pay and compensation, and not enough qualified candidates, right? So, what can you do about it? And I believe that everyone here on this call has a role to play in that regard. Either upskilling yourself, learning new things about latest technology, and as a business manager, a business leader, how can you create learning platforms for your team and for your employees so they can learn more. So really think about the business case here. There are two main questions. So, from a company perspective, what are the costs and benefits of reskilling current employees as opposed to going through a firing and hiring processes? So, there's evidence, and I can share some of those research and analysis with you guys, that in some cases it's actually cheaper to reskill a professional so they can do an entirely new role instead of going to the market and hire a new professional that may cost a lot. From a government perspective, the governments also think, okay, how can we reskill at-risk professionals, right? Professionals that are losing their jobs due to task automation that's being led by technology. So, if you have seen, if you read the CIO news portal, you might have seen an article that Patrick Cannell, one of our product managers here at Microsoft, is doing some very interesting work with government professionals. So the government agencies in New Zealand themselves are thinking, how can we reskill some of our employees that might lose their jobs if nothing is done in the short term? Right? So the government of New Zealand is going through that process of reskilling their own staff, and they also think, okay, how do we take this approach to the New Zealand population? How do we help at-risk workers in New Zealand to reskill and to be able to move into better jobs and secure their jobs? So I think that a very interesting insight that I have had working at Microsoft and talking to many companies around the country is this culture that's being led by SAT internally to become a learn it all organization, not a know it all, right? So at the moment, uh, artificial intelligence, IoT, Internet of Things, big data, and blockchain are the latest technologies, but there will be more technologies coming up in the next year and on the coming years. So uh, there's a very important thing to be done by business leaders to create that learning platform and those processes so that companies can have what we call triple investment. So reskilling at risk workers, upskilling their broader workforce, and building structures for a learning organization. So you might know about the Boston Consulting Group. It's a very big consulting firm that operates worldwide, and they did a research at the end of 2008, asking hundreds of companies around the world about what were the reasons that would make an employee stay at an organization. So they were trying to understand what's happening behind the the high rates of employees turnover that's impacting business worldwide. And one of the main reasons an employee will decide to stay within a company is if that company provides learning and development opportunities. So that was very well rated, even higher than salary and flexible work style and other things that we would think, okay, that's what employees are looking for. But learning and development opportunities, it's something that's on the rise. The same research also says that more than 60% of companies provide less than 10% of time to their employees to upskill, right? So it's a very complex scenario where, of course, you have to do your day-to-day work and have your routine, but how can managers and employees make up some time on their routine to upskill or reskill in areas that they are interested on? And the same research said that there are four things that will make you learn something new. The four reasons, the four C's why someone would learn something new, which can be curiosity, change, challenge, or career. So whatever reason makes you excited about learning something new, just try to make time and take that approach. And I'll share with you some resources that we have to help you with that. So before jumping to the resources, one conversation that we always have with partners and customers is, okay, lots of jobs are being automated and lots of tasks, but how can I build a future-proof skill set? And one thing that's not going to go away, it's human capital. And now that tasks are being automated, human capital is becoming more important than ever. And something that's not going to go away, it's what we call social skills. So what are social skills? So emotional intelligence, leadership, creativity, people management, and those types of skills. These skills will not be replaced by technology. So any person on this call, any person that's on the market, will have a mix of those three types of skill: tech skills, sales and marketing skills, and social skills in different balances, right? If you're a technical professional, of course, going to have more tech skills than sales and marketing skills, and the opposite is also true. But one important thing to notice and to mention is that on the IT industry, every single person must have a balance of those three skills nowadays, right? So I'm a marketing professional, and I have been learning a lot about tech skills because conversations can go highly technical quite fast when you're talking to a customer. And the opposite, again, is also true. So tech professionals, IT professionals, developers, they're being put in front of customers to have some conversations. So they need to develop their own sales and marketing skills as well as social skills. So always think about those three areas. Do not get yourself locked into one of those areas. Try to develop skills in all of them. And one interesting tip is Microsoft recently launched what we call fundamentals course. So we have Azure fundamentals, Microsoft 365 fundamentals, and Dynamics 365 fundamentals. So those are sales and marketing courses that will give what we call level 100 overview of our solution. So the concept, how it works, the value proposition, and all of that, so that we are able to have a conversation with customers and other partners about that topic, so we understand how the technology does work on the background. Now, what we would like to introduce to you today is the Partner Skills Initiative. So, what it is, it's a very comprehensive framework with three steps approach for you to tackle some of the challenges that I have covered now. I'll try to go fast because I know we are on the top of the hour. And this presentation will also be recorded. So I'll take the next 5 minutes to cover some of these resources. First of them is how do you access your business, right? So first step is to benchmark, and we have what we call partner transformation readiness assessment, where you can benchmark your business and technical capabilities. So this is a free assessment, takes about 30 minutes, and it's going to help you to understand where your business is today and what can be done to develop your business and technical capabilities. So please take the time, go through the assessment, and you're going to have a very comprehensive guide at the end of that assessment, which is going to point you the areas that you have to develop and areas that you can explore further, as well as resource guides and training to tackle those business opportunities. So step one, benchmark your business, and then define goals and areas that you want to invest. And the third step is develop a plan, a training plan with your team, and a business plan for your company. The second step is how do you learn, right? So uh, we have been talking a lot about how can I retain, hire, onboard, and compensate talent within my company. I briefly touched on this guide the last call, but I think it's worth talking about it again. So the recruit, hire, onboard, and retain talent playbook has been developed by Microsoft out of the US in a partnership with the INSEAD Business School. And we have interviewed more than 700 companies around the world. So that's a lot. What we did, we tried to understand the best practice and their advice on how companies can attract, onboard, train, and retain top talent. So there's very comprehensive practices that you can start employing at your business. Job roles descriptions. So if you're looking for a specific professional, we share some job descriptions that you might want to use to promote open jobs you have on your company, as well as a lot of tips around how to evaluate, coach, and mentor your team. So these are very interesting resource for business leaders, as well as IT and developers, so they can understand how the trends are impacting the marketing nowadays and how to look for those top jobs in the market. The second resource is the revamped partner training center. So this is in alignment with the new Microsoft official certifications, which are role-based certifications, right? So now we are talking about administrator learning paths, architect, developers, business consultant, technical pre-sales, as well as generalist sellers and other roles. So we try to create learning paths, and we do our best here to really tailor the experience for your job role, because we know that's how we're going to look for training, right? I'm a seller. I'm going to look for sales training and things that can help me do my job better. If I'm a developer, I'm probably going to look for training around that area. So we revamped the whole platform to make it much easier for you guys to navigate the training we have available. We also have the training platforms behind that, right? So when you access a learning path that's curated by Microsoft, training might live on different portals. We create those learning paths to make it easier for you to navigate through those portals. So you don't have to worry where the training is located. We're gonna facilitate that access for you. But other three portals I'd like to share with you guys today is the Microsoft Learn, which I have been talking for a while, and is going to be the most important learning resource for you guys moving forward, as well as AI and IoT school. So if you're looking for AI training, either technical or business related, which I had just added to the portal last month, go to the AI school. Or if you're interested on the Internet of Things as well, go to the IoT school. Some great platforms. There are plans to integrate those schools into the Microsoft Learn into the future, looking ahead. But right now, those platforms are separate, and you can access them separately. Now, the last part, and I'll try to take 2 minutes because we're at overtime here. How do you grow, right? So you have assessed your business, you know what are the areas you want to invest, you have built a learning plan and training plan for a company and your employees. How do you grow? And there are basically two things I want to highlight here. First, live training and events. So great opportunity for you guys to interact with Microsoft professionals and executives. The place where we feature those coming courses, it is the Partner Hub, as you're probably familiar with. The link's down there if you need to check it again. And we're featuring both in-person and virtual events, right? Not everyone is in Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, so we strive to go to regions, but we understand that an online approach is the most effective sometimes. And we are using Teams right now. We use other platforms to run online training for New Zealand partners. And the last thing I think is quite important is, as I mentioned before, we all have a role to play in order to help professions upskill and reskill for new job opportunities. But one important thing we can all do is really leverage the student network, right? How do we help students that are out there to get started with an IT career? And Microsoft has a cool program called Microsoft Student Accelerator, which is a learning opportunity for students, as well as a great hiring opportunity and development opportunity for partners. The way it works is Microsoft to provide technical training for students from some of the top New Zealand universities. And then those students will work on projects. And the last step of that program is what we call summer apprenticeship, which takes place during November and February. So right now we are working with the university and the students to provide basic and advanced training around some of our latest technologies. In September, we're going to organize the employer evening, where employers have the opportunity to meet the students and understand a bit more about the program. And then we're going to open up for the groups of students to start meeting customers and partners that want to take a group of students. So some interesting insights of what have done today. So over the last 3 years, we have trained 3,800 students across New Zealand. Out of those 3,800 students, 260 were given work placements with some of the companies that have listed here on this slide, but many more. So we have customers and partners receiving students at their premises, and a very inspirational insight is that 20% of those students have received full-time offers. So they went from a summer placement that's about 3 months long into a full-time job with some of those companies. So more than 50 students are working with our customers and partners right now. So think about it. We're going to share more details soon about the program and some important dates and how you can engage. But this is an amazing opportunity for you to pilot some new things, right? You can bring a group of students to think about an IoT project you want to develop, or an app development practice you want to build, or AI or big data. So they're focused on the latest and greatest technologies, right? Uh, with that, I'm just sharing some next steps and resources here. All these links will be shared with you, the slides and the recording. And just wanna open up for questions. So I know it's 5:08. Some people have to go, but feel free to ask questions and email me myself if you have any doubts about what I have just presented. So we're going to be promoting some of these resources on the New Zealand Partner Hub, as well as newsletter and blog. But feel free, email myself, ask the team at nzpartner at microsoft.com, and we're going to be here to take questions for the next couple of minutes. And thank you again for your time. Sorry for running a little bit over the 5 o'clock mark, but I hope the presentations today were useful to you guys.
Thanks, Vitor. Great call as usual.
Thank you,
See you
Hamish.
Cool, man. Thanks again. Yeah, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.